Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Angel from Simply Angel Tia. In this video I'm gonna show you guys how to crochet this summer crop top here. It's very simple. We're not using very complicated stitches, and we're not making it so that it's too hard for those of you who are beginners. And if you're also advanced, sometimes it's really nice and refreshing to do something that is nice and easy to do and quick to do. So this will take you a couple of hours to do if you're dedicating a couple of days of a couple of hours of your day to create something that you can wear really quick or give to somebody really quick. This is gonna be the tutorial for you. And for the yarn, I ended up using a full donut like this one, and a second one, which is this one here. So for the second one, I barely used a lot. I did probably the last 4 rows of this top with the new donut, the new package, and the strap, the back strap. So if you're making this a lot smaller than mine, you may get away with using just one like this, which is just 50 grams. But if you're using let's say a small, like a little bit medium, small, medium, and higher, you would need 2. So for example, if you're making one that was a lot larger than this, let's say a medium or a large or extra large, then the 2 will work. To have, make sure you have the 2. Now with this amount of yarn left here, I will probably try to do a bikini bottom, because this can also work as a bikini top if you're going on the beach, to the beach. So if we can have something that we can make with the same material, the same yarn, I think that would be good. So yeah, I will probably just use this yarn here to do like a small bikini bottom. Okay, that's it. Okay, my lovelies, so these are the products we're going to be using for this project. So as you can see here, I have my yarn. This is Fildar. The name of the yarn or the company is Fildar. This yarn is, if you can see it here, it's 55% acrylic and 45% cotton, and it's 50 grams for this I guess donut like this. For a recommendation for a hook size, it is 3.5 millimeter crochet hook, and I'm gonna be using one that is slightly bigger. And when it comes to color, I'm not sure if this here has a color. I will try to go into the actual label here on the other side. I don't see that there's a color anywhere, but this is an off-white, almost like a cream color. Okay, so it's not quite white, it's just it's a little bit of a cream color. Okay, if I can find the color, I will tell you what it is, but I don't see it on the label, and it could just be me who's a tiny bit blind here. Okay, so anyway, so this is the yarn that I'm using. For a crochet hook, I'm actually going to be using slightly bigger 4.25 millimeter crochet hook, or G6 US, and that's just because I want to make this a little bit stretchy and kind of comfortable and not too tight, because it's a summer top. And I have my scissors here, as well as my tape measure, and this is what we're going to be using. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, my lovelies, so we're going to get started with the top here, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start the foundation chain for the cup. So for the cup, you're going to be able to do it based on your size. I am a small or a 32A based on the measurements for cups. So you're going to do this based on the size that you do. So usually for my size, I do anywhere from 10, depending on how big and full coverage I want my top to be. I can do anywhere from 10 chains to start with to 15 chains. Okay, so 15 being the number of chains if I want my top to be a little bit full fitting or more fitting. And if I do 10, it's because I do it to be a little bit revealing or a little bit more round in shape. Okay, so for this here, we're going to pretty much do a chain of 13. So we're kind of landing somewhere in the middle. So to do that, I'm going to start by doing a slip knot so we can start the foundation chain. So I do my slip knot like this. Okay, and now that I have my slip knot, I'm going to start by doing the chain of 13. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so that's my chain of 13, and that's going to be the middle of my cup here. And to start the first row, I'm going to skip the stitch that is right where the hook is coming out of, this one here. And in the second one from there, I'm going to go in the back of it and do a half double crochet. Okay, so I'm going to grab that next stitch in the back just like that. and do a half double crochet like that. Okay, then I'm going to yarn over again, flip my work like this so I can see the back of the chain, and I'm going to go into the next stitch and grab the back loop of the chain and do a half double crochet. Okay, and then I'm going to repeat that again. I'm going to go that and do this all the way to the beginning of this chain. Okay, so you're going to be doing the first part of this by just literally going through the back loop of the chain and doing half double crochet stitches. Okay, so meet me when you have completed yours and you've reached here, and I will do the same. Okay, so that is the first part of the project here, and as you can see, I have 12 stitches all together that I've worked with just the half double crochet. And as you can see, that is what you should have. Okay, so very simple, very straightforward. And the next part of it is going to be where we need to pay more attention, so I will show you guys what I mean by that, especially for those of you who are beginners and may not be fully aware on how to do like for example the bra cups and things like that. Okay, so for this part here, we're going to do a chain of 1 and turn, and in this next stitch here, we're going to go ahead and go through both loops like this and do a half double crochet. Okay, then we're going to go into the next stitch. Again, we go through both of these loops. We're not going through the back loop or the front loop only, we're going through both and completing our half double crochet. And we're going to do this all the way to the top of this work here, and I'll show you that because we're going to do something different, and that part of it is going to be what is a repeat. So this row that I'm doing here right now is going to be a repeat row for the remainder of doing the cup. Okay, of doing this part of the top. So I'm going to quickly get to the end here so I can show you what that is. And again, for those of you who don't know how to do bra cups, let me know, or just those of you who know how to do it but maybe you want to make sure that there's some videos for beginners, let me know. Maybe I'll do a tutorial where I show how to do different cup sizes, so that you guys, I don't have to do this part of the project every time I do a top or do anything that requires a cup on top of the dress or for the dress. Okay, so let me know in the comment section below if that is something you're interested in. Okay, so as you can see here, this is my second last stitch. So I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to go in and do my half double crochet. And now for the third last stitch, which is the top here, I'm going to go into it right like that, and I'm going to do 2 half double crochets. So that's 1 and 2, and then I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to do 2 more half double crochets into the same stitch. Okay, so there's 4 stitches all together in the same stitch, and there's a chain 2 to separate the 4, so we have 2 on one side and 2 on the other side of the chain 2. Okay, let me just take my time here like that. So this creates a corner of our cup. Okay, then we move on and we go into the next stitch and we do a half double crochet. And again, this side is a little bit tricky because we need to make sure we go through both loops here. Okay, if you look at it carefully, these are the place we need to make sure we grab. Both of those are going on top of your hook when you go through. Okay, so we're gonna just do that on every single stitch, going all the way down. Okay, until you get to the end. So your last one will be right here. When you get to right here, come back to the video and I will show you how to do the second row of this project. And again, make sure you're taking your time. It's a little bit difficult to work on this side. It's a little bit tight because if you remember the others, we worked the rows on the other side as well, so it kind of restrict how much space is left to do the same thing using the same stitches on this side. Okay, so go ahead and do that. When you've reached the bottom of this row, come back and I will show you how to start the second row, and then we'll go on from there. Okay, but it should look like this so far. Okay, so see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed the second row, the first row. So I call this the first row. Some people may count it a little bit different, so please just do it however you prefer it. So the very first row that we did after we did our chain of 13, I don't count that as a row because it's just one that goes right in the middle of the cup. And now when we go from this end and we work ourselves all around like this to this end, so we do a full circle or a full I guess coming around like this, I call that as my first row, just because it's one that makes it complete. Okay, now if you want to call it the second row because you count the first part, which is right in the middle of it, as your first row, please go ahead and do that. Don't this is not supposed to be something that stresses you out. Just make it easy for yourself. You can call it the first row. It's not a problem. Okay, so now that we have completed in my way of counting the first row of this cup, we're going to start the second row by doing a chain 1 and turning. And then I'm going to just repeat what we did in the previous row, which is do a half double crochets going around all the way. But I will show you how to do this first, the second one here, so I can show you how to do the top part here where we create the corner. And then I will have you guys build it up until it fits you or the person you're making it for. So, and by that I mean if you do less rows, it means it's smaller in terms of coverage. The more rows you do, the more coverage you will have. Okay, so I'm gonna keep showing you guys this here all the way to the top. And like I said again, if you guys want me to actually have a tutorial on how just to do the cups in different sizes, let me know and I will work on that, just because I know it's easy for me to do it like this because I'm used to doing it. But if you're a beginner, you may struggle and you don't know how to do a small, as medium, as large, as extra large. Okay, so comment below if you want me to do that. Anyways, we have come to almost the last one. So this is the last stitch here that we're gonna go into just like this and do our half double crochet. And now we have the middle. And for the middle, we're going right into that gap and do 2 half double crochets. So 1 and 2, chain 2, then go back into the same gap and do 2 more half double crochets to create the corner. Okay, so 1 and 2. Now that we've created the corner like that, we're going to move on to the next, and then we're just going to go right to that stitch there and do our half double crochet, and to the next stitch and do our half double crochet. And again, we are working through both loops, so it's a different project altogether. It will look completely different as well if you do go in the back loop only, just because it creates the ripples and it creates the waviness in the material when you do work in one of the stitches and not all of them or 2 of them. Okay, so I'm gonna do this all the way to the end here, and I'll show you quickly how this second row looks completed, and then I will have you guys build it up as I will do the same for mine. And when it comes time to do the strap, I will come back to show you guys how to do the strap and before we create the second cup. Okay, so this is the end of my second row, but this is pretty much how the second row looks like. So go ahead and build up however many rows that you want. I'm going to do about, let's say, 6 to 8 rows because I like my tops to be full coverage. So 6 to 8 rows. When I have that, I will come back and I will show you guys how it looks like and how to create the strap on top here. Okay, the strap that will tie behind your neck. So I will see you guys then. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and built up my cup here. So as you can see, this is how it looks. Okay, so very nice and simple and very comfortable. And like I said again, this material is very stretchy. It does have 65 or 55% acrylic and 45% cotton. So it does also have a very nice and smooth texture to it. Okay, now I have done 8 rows. So right now I have, I guess, 7.5. So by 7.5, I mean I've done this, and then I've also started this last one here and stopped right in the middle. So this part here, if you haven't, like let's say you had completed your row like this and you have all the number of cups or number of rows that you need, just undo from here to the middle. Okay, because we do need to do the strap in the middle. But if you want to add 1 more row because it's going to make it just nice and full coverage for you, whatever the case is, then just work the next row after you chain 1 and turn, work it until you get to the middle. And when you get to the middle like I have here, then come back to the video. So Now that I have worked my 8th row, this is my 8th row here, and I'm going to work into the middle. I'm going to pretty much, I've completed my half double crochet right there. So I'm going to go right into the middle and do my 2 half double crochets, okay, like this. And instead of chaining 2 and then doing 2 more right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my strap, okay? So I'm going to do a chain that is long enough to tie behind my back. And what I will do for me, because I like it to be a little bit long and not too struggly when you try to tie it, I'm going to do a chain of 120. And then when I have my chain of 120, I'm going to come back to show you guys how to work down that chain. And then when we get back to the middle here, we finish our final 2 half double crochets before we complete the row all the way here, okay? So I will show you how to start the chain. So after you do your 2 half double crochets here, then you just go right into doing your chains of 120. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is just 10. I'm going to do 110 more. And again, like I said, you do the strap that is long enough for you. So me doing 120 doesn't mean you have to do 120. You could do 80, you could do 100, you could do 150, you could do however many chains you want your strap to be. Because keep in mind, one cup will have one strap that is for me 120. The second cup will have a strap that is 120, and then the 2 of them will tie behind my neck when I wear this top, okay? So do however many chains that you need for your top, but make sure you're counting it because you want to match it with the second one as well. You want to have the exact same, otherwise you will have a strap that is longer and one that is shorter. So that's one. The second information that you need to know is we're going to come down this chain to make it thicker by doing slip stitches when we get to 120, and then we come right back down the chain by doing slip stitches. It's going to make this strap a little bit thicker. If you don't want that at all, then what you will do here, instead of doing what we just did, you will continue to complete your the row as per usual. Cut your yarn, so you will do it all the way down here. Cut your yarn, come and reconnect your yarn in the middle here, and then do your chain of 120 or however many. And this is how thick or thin your strap will be. So it will pretty much kind of look like this when you finish it, okay? So this is the information you need to know. You could either do it my way and make it thicker by doing slip stitches to come down, or you can just complete your row and then reattach the yarn in the middle here to do your chains, okay? So I'll go ahead and do my 110 more to make it 120. When I have completed that, I will come back to show you guys, those of you who are doing the slip stitches, how to do so, okay? See you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed my chain of 120. So as you can see, that's how long it is. And when you do work down the slip stitches, it actually does shorten your work a little bit. So if you do 120, make sure you count for maybe another extra 20 chains that will make it shorter. So the chain will in actuality look like you just did 100 chains. So make sure you're also keeping your mind with that. And it could be, if you do it too small, when you do your slip stitches down, it could be way shorter than you want it to be. So just make sure, when usually I do the slip stitches going down the chain, I account for it by doing an extra, let's say 20 chains. So for this here, I'm doing 120, but literally 100 could have been enough for me. And so when I do work down the slip stitches, I will actually lose about 20 chains in terms of the shortness of the strap itself, okay? All right, now that I have that, I'm gonna add one more chain here for a turning chain. And then I'm going to go right into the next stitch right after where the one that the hook comes through. And I'm going to go in the back and I'm going to do a slip stitch. So just keep it, okay, look at this carefully here. So you go in the back and you do a slip stitch, which is like this. So you go through both loops when you do a slip stitch. Then you're gonna grab the next stitch, the back of it, and you're gonna do a slip stitch. Then you're gonna go into the next stitch, grab the back loop, and do a slip stitch, and then go into the next, grab the back and do a slip stitch, okay? So in terms of the thickness of the strap, so it goes from it looking like this to it looking like this, so it's a little bit thicker, okay? Now go ahead and continue to work the slip stitches down your chain, and when you get back to the base of the chain, then come back and I will show you guys how to finish that final 8th row that we have started but still kind of working on in a way. Okay, so I will see you guys when you've completed the slip stitches up to here. Okay, my lovelies, so as you can see here, I have worked down the 120 chains, okay, to create this strap that is a little bit thicker, and this is how I wanted it. And as you can see, I have pretty much gotten to the bottom of the base of the chain here, where we started off. I have one more, and I wanted to make sure I show you guys that there's one more to do right here. Okay, so all I will do is just go through that like this and complete my final slip stitch like that. Okay, and now we still have to do 2 half double crochets here, because that is what we had started with, is 2 half double crochets before we started our chain. And now we're going to complete our 2 second ones here. Okay, so we're just gonna yarn over, go into the gap in the middle, bring it back, yarn over, go through all 3 loops like that, and then do it one more time and finish it off like that. Okay, so now we have completed the 2 half double crochets here. Instead of chain 2, we have a strap, and then we do the 2 half double crochets on the other side. And then we're just gonna go ahead and go into the next stitch here and complete our half double crochet as per usual, and into the next, and into the next, and then all the way down the remaining part of this row. Okay, so go ahead and complete your half double crochets. When you get to the base here, when you've done your last one right here, come back to the video and I will show you guys what to do next. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed my 8th row here. So as you can see, I just finished off the 8th row after we did our strap. And now that I'm at the base here, so this is my final half double crochet here, I'm going to go ahead and create a strap here, or like a I'm going to do a chain here that's gonna be, it becomes part of the body of our top. Okay, so this part here is where, when you put your cup against your bust, for example, and if you take this strap here on each one of your sides, so it goes right underneath your armpit, it should stretch to where you want the sides of the top to kind of come close to. Okay, so I'm going to do 120. It's because just right before the top hits the middle of my back, I stop. So I'm going to have about that much gap, about like 3 to 4 inches of a gap in the middle of my back after I have done this. So I only do 20 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is how long my chain is that is going to be part of the top here. Okay, now I don't have my scissors next to me, but what I will do is I will cut these off here, slip stitch here to lock it on off, and then I will go ahead and start my second bra cup. Okay, so as you can see, this is one done, completely done. We're gonna create a second one exactly the same, but when you get to the end of the second one, don't cut your yarn off. We're gonna continue to work from that side, and then we will connect the second one on this side. Okay, so go ahead and repeat the exact same thing. If you need to rewind the video to make sure you're doing it correct, do the same, and then I will see you guys when you have your second cup completed. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed my second cup. So as you can see, this is the one we completed on camera. I didn't have a scissors to cut it, but I did cut it off after I got my scissors, slip stitch to lock it in here so it doesn't undo itself. And then I went ahead and started the second one here. So the second cup I also completed. I did the chain of 20 here, but I'm not gonna remove the yarn or cut the yarn because we're gonna start working from this end here. Okay, so if we put our bra cups together next to each other, they're just something like that. To make sure they are exactly the same, you could always put it against one another like this, and you will see that it lines together perfectly. Okay, but when you do put them next to each other, make sure the place where you did the chains is facing the opposite of the other side, because the other side is here. You want to make sure that the other side is facing the opposite side like that. Okay, now what I usually do is I would usually lock these here by taking a string and then tying these here so it doesn't come apart. So I'm gonna do that really quick, and then I'll come back to show you guys how to start the body of the top. Okay, so as you can see, I just cut off a small piece of the top here of the yarn, sorry. So I'm gonna actually flip this like this. So this one is on my right hand side because this is the one I'm gonna start working on from this side. And then I will place the second one on here like this. because I'm gonna work from the right hand side all the way here. And if you're left-handed, of course, you would probably then have it exact opposite, where you start here and you go that way. Okay, now that I have it laid down like that, I'm going to take my yarn. I'm going to go into this very first stitch here. I'm gonna pull that yarn through it, just like that. And then I'm gonna go into the same thing on the other side and bring the yarn through like that. Okay, and then what I will do to just kind of keep them together while I work on the first row, I'm going to tie these here. And don't tie it too tight, because we will end up removing that just to not have it hanging there, or not to have to work it, weaving it in here. But you want to have it so that it's nice and flat like that, so that when you work your next part of the project, that it's not going to kind of like give you a hard time working through that. Okay, all right, so I'm going to quickly wind the yarn on my finger like this. For those of you who follow my tutorials, you know this is how I keep my yarn controlled and steady, and also creates very even stitches, is because my yarn, I wind it on my finger like this. Okay, all right, so we have our chain of 20 here that we stopped at 20, but what I will do is I will go and do one more for my turning chain. And you want to make sure your chain is very nice and straight and facing upwards like this. Then we're going to put the crochet hook back there. We're gonna do a chain of 1 like that, and then we're going to go into the next stitch here. We're gonna go in the back and do a half double crochet. Okay, so we're going to work consistently with the same stitches that we've been working with. Let me just redo that here. The first one is always a little bit tricky, because you want to make sure you're grabbing the back loop like that, half double crochet. Then we're gonna pick it up again and go into the next stitch and do our half double crochet like that. And then we're just going to continue to do this all the way until we get to the base of these 20 chains. Okay, and I'm going to have you guys do the same. When you have reached the end of this chain, come back to the video and I will show you guys how to do the next part of the project, which is from here. Then I'll show you guys how to do it all the way to the other side, and how to continue on the other side of the chain. Okay, so I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have worked on the chains by doing the half double crochet stitches. As you can see, this is how it looks like. And then I'm going to go into a final one that is right here of the chains, and just do my half double crochet here. And then now I'm into the actual bra itself, or the cup itself. So I'm going to just continue doing my half double crochets by going into the actual work like this. So when it comes to this part, there's no actual stitches that you're working into, but you're making sure you're gapping your work in a very appropriate way, in terms of the gapping is not too far apart for the stitches, but they're not too clustered together either. So you're just going to continue to work them nice and even like this. So if you see, it makes it looks very nice, and it makes it look very professional. So make sure you're not going too deep either. So for example, I'm grabbing just the last, let's say these 2 stitches like this, as opposed to, for example, going in and going in here like this, which is not really good. Okay, you want to stay as high up as possible. Okay, but you want to also make sure that you're grabbing a decent amount of stitches, or like a amount of yarn that is not going to keep it too kind of stringy, if that makes any sense. Because if you, for example, grab one of these loops instead of both, it's going to look really weird. So you want to make sure you go underneath and grab both like this. Okay, so we're going to do this all the way to where the middle part here is. Come back when you have reached the middle part. I will show you what to do there before I have you continue all the way to the other side of the chain. Okay, so I will see you guys when you reach the middle here. Okay, my lovelies, so as you can see, this is pretty much how it looks so far. It cleans up the bottom of the bra cup here very nicely. And as you can see, I have reached the middle. This is my last stitch here before we go to the middle. So where I actually brought these strings together here to tie, I'm going to go into that stitch and do a half double crochet. And then what I will do is I will skip right to the other side of the other string as well and do a half double crochet there, because you don't want to work it in the middle. Okay, so now that you have done that, you're just going to continue then to do your half double crochets just like we did on this side. There's no need to count your stitches to make sure they're even on this side and even on that side. You just want to make sure that you are doing your stitches in the same consistency as you did the other side. So again, not too gappy on one side and too kind of clustered together on the other. And as long as you do it like that, you're going to make sure you're creating a very nice and neat work. Okay, so we're just going to do this again all the way to here. When you get to where the chain of 20 is, make sure you're holding your string or your chain here the right way. As you can see here, this is the inside, and you're going to want to work in the back. So you're going to make sure you're holding it like this while you work into the back loop of your chain. And you're going to continue to do your half double crochets all the way to the last stitch here. When you've reached that, come back and I will show you how to start the second row of this part of the project. Okay, so I will see you guys when you have reached this end here. Okay, so I have gone ahead and worked the half double crochets all the way to the end of the other side. As you can see, this is where we started off right here in this corner, and we went all the way to this side. Okay, so I have one more stitch to go, because you guys know there's always one stitch to go, and I always come back to show you guys how to do that final stitch. And it is going to be a little bit difficult because we did have a slip stitch at the end here that we wanted to make sure this part of the project doesn't come off, but there's that stitch there, and you still have to go through the back loop like that to complete your final half double crochet. And it's going to be a little bit challenging to bring your yarn through here, but it's okay, just like that. Okay, and then you complete your 20th on this side here. Okay, so now we're gonna start the second row of this part of the project, and we're just gonna chain one and turn. And then we're going to make sure we move everything to one side so it's easy for us to work. And then in the stitch right next after our chain one, we're going to go ahead and do a half double crochet there. Then we're going to move on and do another half double crochet. And then another. And again, we're not going through the back loop only. We're just going through both loops. And you're going to do these all the way to the other side. So we're going to work our half double crochets all the way to the other side. And then for the third row on this side, we're going to create a different, a little bit of a different pattern. So go ahead and complete this first row here, or the second row, I should say, of this. When you've gone all the way to the end, come back and I will show you how to do the third row, which is a little bit different. And then we're going to do the fourth, and then we're going to continue to repeat a couple of stitches or a couple of rows until we have the length that we're looking for our top. Okay, but for now, just go ahead and continue working these half double crochets all the way to the other end and then come back. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed the second row of the half double crochets here. So as you can see, this is how it looks like. Okay, I have one more stitch to work on at the end here, and then we will start our third row. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that here like that, so that makes it nice and flat. And then for this next row, which is going to be our third row, I am pretty much going to do a chain of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to turn my work. Okay, and then I'm going to skip 2. So 1, 2, and the third one here, I am going to do a half double crochet. Okay, just like this. So it looks something like that. Then I'm going to chain 2. I'm going to skip 2, 1, 2. In the third, I'm going to do a half double crochet like that. Then I'm going to chain 2, skip 2 stitches, 1, 2. In the third, do a half double crochet, chain 2, skip 2 stitches. In the third, do a half double crochet. And as you can see, you just continue to do this. It creates this mesh part of the top here, and you're going to do this all the way until you get to the other side here. Okay, now when it comes to the middle part here, let's say for the exact middle here, you have 1, 2, and then the third one is where you work, that's fine. But if you have to skip 1, 2 and work the third here, actually I will just show you how to work the center here. So work until you get to the center. When you get to the center, right before the center, come back, and I'll show you there's a workaround that you need to work around if the stitches doesn't actually add up exactly to for this kind of gap to end up in the middle. Okay, so I'll see you guys in a bit when you get close to the middle. Okay, my lovelies, so I have reached the middle here. So as you can see, I would skip this stitch and this stitch, and the next one that I go into is right in the middle. Okay, so that works for me here in that sense. So I've done my chain 2, and then I have gone into that third stitch and done my half double crochet there like this. So let's say though this was where you would have gone to do your last half double crochet, then you would skip this and this, and you would go into the next one here. So either you want this half double crochet to be right in the middle, or you want it to be so that the two that you skip are the middle, the two middle parts. So however it's gonna land, it's gonna look nice regardless. Okay, so now go ahead and continue doing your half double crochets all the way to this end here. When you have reached the end, come back. I will show you how to start the second row, and then we'll go ahead and start that together, and then we'll go ahead and repeat until we get to the length. Okay, I will see you guys when you finish this row though. Okay, my lovelies, so I have worked my mesh part here all the way to the end here. So as you can see, I have 2 stitches to go, even though I have to do a chain of 2 and then skipping 2 areas. So I will still do the chain of 2, but instead of skipping 2 areas, because I don't have 2 to skip, I'm just going to skip this one, and in the final stitch right here, I'm going to do my half double crochet. Okay, so I'm just going to do exactly what we did, but except there's 2 here, and it's just a workaround. I'm the kind of person who doesn't want to go all the way and redo and make sure I count stitches and things like that. It's not necessary. This workaround works just fine. My channel is called Simply Angel Tia for a reason. I want to simplify things. I want to make it so that it's very easy to work around some of the things instead of always making sure you have the exact same stitches of this and that. It's just it becomes too complicated. Okay, so as a beginner, if you're learning through me, you will notice that I have some workarounds a lot. That doesn't make any difference at all in the whole in the whole project, but it does help to just not have to frog your work and start over and count stitches and do all of that. So this is a great one here where instead of skipping 2 stitches, I just end up skipping 1. And as you can see here, it doesn't make a huge difference at all. Okay, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with our second row. And for this second row, we're going to do another row of the mesh, and then we're going to go ahead and repeat 2 more of the half double crochet, regular half double crochet. But for this part here, again, we're gonna start by doing a chain of 4 and then turning our work, and then skipping these 2 stitches here, and on top of the previous half double crochet, we're going to go ahead and do a half double crochet, chain 2, skip the 2 stitches here on top of the previous half double crochet, do a half double crochet, chain 2, skip 2, go into the previous half double crochet, do a half double crochet. So again, we repeat this all the way to this end. And when you have reached this end here, come back and I'll show you how to start the next row, which is going to be the regular half double crochet row. Okay, I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed the second row here of this mesh part. So as you can see, this is pretty much how it looks. Okay, and now I'm going to show you how to finish off the final one here. So this is your chain 4 that you started the previous row with. So you're going to do a chain of 2, and you're going to skip the 1, 2, and in the third, you're going to go into that stitch and do your half double crochet. Okay, so you're just going to go into that here and complete your half double crochet. Okay, just like that. So this is how this end would look like. And now we're going to switch back and do 2 rows of this stitch here, which is just a regular half double crochet. And to do that, you're going to chain 1 and turn. And we're going to, well, we'll do a chain 2 here, sorry, chain 2 and turn. That chain 2 counts as a half double crochet. And then we're gonna go into the chain 2 gap and do 2 half double crochets into that gap. Okay, and then we're gonna go on top of the previous half double crochet and do a half double crochet, and then we're gonna go into the gap and do 2 half double crochets into the gap, like so. 1 half double crochet on top of the previous half double crochet, and then we're going to do 2 half double crochets in the gap, and this is what you repeat all the way to the end. So this is how it should look like. And when you finish this first row of the regular half double crochets, which you will again here with this chain 2 area, you're going to do your half double crochet on top of this half double crochet, do 2 half double crochets into this gap here, and then your final half double crochet will go into the one to the second half double crochet from the bottom. For the second stitch from the bottom, you complete your final half double crochet. Okay, and then when you finish that, you switch again and do 2 more rows of the mesh section here. And to start that, you start by doing a chain of 4, and then skipping 2 stitches and doing a half double crochet, chain 2, skip 2 stitches, do half double crochet, and then you do 2 rows just like we did here. Then you switch back to doing another 2 rows of this, and you alternate that until you have the length of your top. My goal is going to be to do it to go just right above my belly button. So what I will do as I continue to work on it is I will try it on, and when I hit that length, then I will come back and show you guys how it looks like. But I'm also going to make sure the final 2 rows are going to be the 2 rows of the half double crochet, regular half double crochet rows, okay? So that it starts solid and it finishes solid at the bottom. So go ahead and do that. When you've completed all that, come back and we'll look at how our top looks like. And then we'll create the strap that will go in the back to tie our top in the back as well, okay? So I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed the bottom part of the top. And as you can see here, I ended up pretty much doing the first 2 rows here that we did of the solid half double crochet, and then the 2 rows of the mesh, and then 2 rows of that, and just continued all the way to here. So I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks of the solid half double crochet, and 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of the mesh part. Okay, so as you can see, this is where I ended the project. I cut the yarn off here and I slip stitch to be able to lock that in. So what I will do here really quick is I'll split this yarn into 2 sections, and this is how I usually kind of just end my project. And I will take the yarn, I will put it through here, and I will bring in the one of the 2 pieces, and then in the bottom here I will bring in the other piece so that they're both on the same side like this. And then I will knot these here a couple of times before cutting off the excess yarn. So I'm just gonna knot that there, and then I'm gonna knot it again and again, just to make sure it's nice and secure so that it doesn't unravel itself or come off. And then I will take my yarn here and cut those 2 excess yarn of the 2 strings there. Okay, so and as you can see, I have already done the same thing on this side, which is where we started off the first row, and the 2 pieces that were here as well from when we started the cups. Okay, and now with that done like that, I have everything completed. And what I did while I was off camera as well is I did a strap that is really, really long. So please go ahead and do the same. So all I did with this strap is I just did a chain of about 250. So it's quite long like this. And then I went down the chain by doing slip stitches to make this strap thicker and a little bit nice and round like that, which is the same thing we did with the straps that go on behind our necks. Okay, so the same thing I did with that. So instead of showing you guys how to do the same thing I already showed you guys in this video, I would like you guys to create a strap that is long, the length that you want. So I did about 250 chains, so that is going to be up to you if you want to do the same. If you do the same, it also depends on the size of yarn you use, because maybe not all of you are using the exact same yarn that I'm using. So if you are using something that is different, make sure you just kind of I guess just look at how long your chain is and then kind of guesstimate how long you need it to be, and you can add or remove chains, okay? But as you can see here where I finished off, I'm just knotting the two sides, which is the beginning of the chains and the end of the slip stitching. I knotted those two together, and I'm just going to cut the excess yarn off here, and then I'll show you guys quickly how to put it on, okay? So now with that done, I'm going to fold, and it doesn't matter what side you do these in, both sides are equal exactly. But I have my work kind of folded like that. And what I will do is I will bring my one of the straps in here through there, and I go from the inside to bring it in, to bring it outwards. Okay, just like that. Okay, and then I'll do the same on this side. And make sure you're going to the very top, because when you do put on your shirt or your top here, your crop top, you want to make sure that it is going to allow you to bring it through the same way. Okay, so you do it like this. And sometimes I just use a crochet hook like this to help me, because if the space is tight, you want to make sure that you can bring it through. And right now I'm struggling with it, but you know, you do the best that you can. Take your time, be patient with your work. Don't pull, don't create too many holes that are unnecessary, just something like that. Then what I do is I hold both sides like this, and then I pull to make sure that they are equal, like that. And right now it's too tight like that, so when you wear it, it's not going to be that small of a hole. It's going to be much bigger, but you can adjust this strap and just kind of keep moving it as you go. Okay, now that I have that there, I'm going to move into the middle of the next one here. This is the second down, the second row down of the two half double crochet rows that we did. So I go into the second one and I do that. And of course, on this side, I'll go into the second and do the same, which is why I bring these on that side and I put it here. Then I bring it through. I always struggle with the left hand side because I don't know why, with the right hand side I should say, but you just do the same thing that we did on the other side. So I'll use my hook here to help me maneuver it through the hole without pulling anything else. And I will not stick here and do this with you guys all the way, but go ahead and do these same things. So as you can see, I'll zigzag it like that. So the next one will go in the bottom second of the half double crochet rows, this on each side. So you crisscross like this, and then the next one will go here, and then the last one will go in the very bottom of this. So go ahead and do that. When you're done, come back and we will look at how it looks, and then we will pretty much finish the project here. Okay, so you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have obviously gone ahead and weaved the strap on here. So as you can see, this is going to be going in the back of our body, and of course these are the straps that will tie behind your back, behind your neck specifically, not your back but behind your neck. So you'll just kind of do like a nice kind of like bow in the back, so it looks nice and cute like that. But this is pretty much kind of like the back of it, and then if you flip it this way, this would be the front of your crop top. Okay, so very nice. I'm going to probably buy some like some bra cups that I can sew into these spaces here. And if you do have that, please go ahead and do the same. What I will do in the very near future for the channel is I will actually show you guys how you sew one on, and maybe I will actually have it done before I have this video go up. So it is going to be being sewn into this top here, but I will launch that before I launch this. That way you guys have that video already on how to be able to sew your cups into your tops, crochet tops. Okay, so but this is pretty much how it is here. So in the back, in the bottom of our back, this is where you will tie this. Just a quick pro tip for you guys if you want to learn something. When you do crop tops like this that have straps like this, I realize if I just leave it like this and I pull this to be able to fit my body to go through here, oftentimes I end up pulling these off, and then if you are not at home with anyone who can help you put it back on, it comes off and it's impossible to put it on. So what I do, just so you guys are aware, is what I do is I just do a knot. I do not a knot, but I do like a little bit of a, I guess you call it a knot, something like this, that is going to be impossible to go through this if you pull it. See, if you pull it, it's like this, so that on both sides. So you do that on this side here, and you do it on this side as well, And it's not something that is hard to undo. If you want to undo this, you absolutely can do it very easily. But you try to make it at the very end as much as possible, not to have too much of a strap here. And you do it like this so that when you do put it on, if you do have to pull it and make it a lot more open to fit your body, there's no risk of this coming out, and then you have to the struggle of having to put them back on. So that's just a pro tip if you guys want to kind of follow that. If not, of course, you know, if you have somebody who helps you put these kind of tops on all the time, then don't worry about that. All right, so this is pretty much the end of the video here. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching it to the end. And I hope you guys subscribe to the channel and make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Make sure you share the video with your loved ones, anybody who is learning to crochet. I try to target beginners a lot, so I use very simple stitches and I try to do very simple patterns so that you guys can follow and be able to be creating a lot of things like this. Again, if you do make things that are from my channel, please share on Instagram. You can always tag me there. All the information is in the description box below. Okay, thank you so much again, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.